Lesotho is a unique country in terms of everything, from its location to its geography, its people and its governance. It's a vibrant multi-party democracy at all levels, but His Majesty the King is the head of state. This decentralization policy has been formulated to provide a framework for opening and widening the economic and social benefits to all citizens.
Decentralization to us, or to me, or to us at the Lesotho City Council, means people at the local level doing their own thing, starting from budget, setting their own priorities, as well as implementing and even following them up to see to it that these are the activities or the actions or the projects that we had said we shall implement at the beginning of the year. Then how far have we gone? Are there any funds that we can actually say we are targeting towards any specific project? So that to us is decentralization, people doing things for themselves, by themselves.
Today we are here in one of the communities that are going to benefit from the local development grant, which is under the Deepening Decentralization Program. And we are looking at the sites where the projects are going to be constructed, and one of the sites we are looking at is the water site, where Maseru City Council is going to extend the water system.
And high science kisukula metsi and hantle ha rena metsi bakeng sa dipompo rena le metsi re ya Khansidibe and ha rena safe bakeng sa ona hobaneng le ha pula di nele ha re khone ho ga banene re tshelele mono Sedibeng re kgemetsi ka tshebo ya ka ha ke se ke sheba motso ona ho tloa kwana qalong ya ona kwana ka nna ba ketetse pedi batho ba sebedisang metsi ya.
As you can see, apparently people are fetching water from this pool, which I'm sure has contaminated water. They are fetching water for washing clothes, for drinking, for cooking at home, and I'm sure this is one of the contributing factors to the diseases in this area.
For several years before we even started to work on the decentralization policy, UNDP was engaged with the government of Lesotho on local government and local governance initiatives. During this work, it became clear that a more structured and a more focused initiative is needed to implement decentralization in Lesotho, and together with other development partners such as GIZ and the European Union, we were supporting the government of Lesotho to design a program that would address the specific needs in this area.
For us, it's very natural as EU to support decentralization activities in developing countries. The whole EU is based on the principle of decentralization. We have a very fancy word for that in the European Union called subsidiarity, which means that you do the things, you give the services at the lowest possible level. That could be at European level. A lot of it happens at national level, but preferably that should happen as close as possible to the citizens. And of course, supporting decentralization in Africa is very close to that kind of principle, that we bring the services to the citizen to the lowest possible level in every country in Africa which has requested us to support them.
Decentralization for the people of Lesotho brings a lot of issues. Firstly, it talks about access and service delivery in a more convenient manner. That is, services that are easily accessible, services that cost less than the usual way of delivering such a service, services that are responsive directly to the needs of the communities. And coupled with that, it also entails the issue of voicing out your views in terms of how those services are being delivered and, like I said, whether they address the needs of individuals within respective communities. And that includes taking part into the decisions that are made by the center. So it is a two-way process as the way Lesotho views it.
One of the key issues in decentralization is which form of decentralization Lesotho would choose. In this case, devolution means that the central government still is the owner and the holder of the policy environment, setting the policies, setting the strategies for implementation. However, at the local level, the local government structures will implement those policies and implement those strategies in an autonomous manner. In other words, they have the autonomy to devise the plans, to prepare the budgets, and then based on the policy and strategy recommendations of central government, implement those plans with the support of the central ministries and have the autonomy to manage and monitor their own implementation with accountability to the central government.
The councils will have the power to hire their own staff. They will have the powers to discipline them, to dismiss or fire them in case there are any problems. And then that means that you're strengthening their powers to actually administer the affairs of their councils. And then in terms of the capital investment budget, the councils will be able to identify their own needs, plan for them, budget, and implement the activities accordingly. And then they will be able to account to the people they are serving.
We are quite excited by the decentralization policy because to us it means doing things our own way without any intervention. Of course, there will always, the central government will be there, but it has to be clearly understood that the role of the central government has got only 4 functions according to our own understanding. That is the issue of soliciting funds for the local authorities to do their things. Is the issue of capacity building. We still expect the local government to set, the central government to do that. The issue of setting the policy, like they have said, they have said the decentralization policy is again the function of the central government, as well as the issue of the legal framework. But as to the how part of it, how are we going to discharge the functions that has been set in the Act? It's actually the functions that will be done now for the first time by us at the local authority level. So it means getting more, exercising our authority, exercising our own strength, so that we can see if we are capable, and where we are not capable. This is where the UNCDF as well as UNDP will come up with the technical backstopping, which we think we shall need perhaps for a certain number of years, say from 1 to 5 years. We will still be needing that kind of capacity building from the funders. But as to how they run the affairs of the local authorities, at the Maseru Municipal Council, we are saying we think this decentralization policy could not have come at a very opportune time. So we are really very excited about it.
So the policy focuses on issues like streamlining administrative powers at the local level. It also focuses on fiscal decentralization, having a mechanism in place where the funds are flowing smoothly to the councils. It also focuses on local governance, improving local governance at the lowest level, and ensuring there is transparency and accountability.
Explaining decentralization is easy, but to make it happen on the ground is actually very difficult, because you are expecting local structures to implement their local development plans in an accountable and transparent manner when they have very little history and very little skill set and capacity to do that based on their previous set of roles. In that sense, the decentralization program and the decentralization policy requires a much wider intervention. It's not just a matter of having the policy and putting it in front of the central and local government to implement it. Local government needs an enormous level of support in terms of building their capacities to be able to implement that. These capacities are not necessarily just at the individual level. These capacities relate mostly to the institutional settings, to make sure that they have the right structures at the local government entities, that they have the right personnel, the right skill set, the right roles and functions defined, because a lot of these functions are currently sitting at the central level. So this requires an assessment to see what are the current capacities, then a targeted capacity building program, helping the governments with the simplest task of developing a budget, monitoring a budget, and being able to accountable for the funds that they are now managing. And also to establish a new working relationship with central government, where some of the functions move down to the local level, and they have to establish then a new arrangements with their policy and strategy setters.
It has been a very wonderful experience to work with both UNDP and UNCDF and EU in terms of capacity building, especially in terms of the project management, as well as working with the communities. That strengthening of working of our employees of how best could they work with the communities has been awesome, because they got some skills that we never thought that they would have. So they have been capacitated to a great extent, and we hope with even throughout the duration of the project, their skills will be enhanced.
Ke mema Bafke Mabote, ke sebetsa Dithabaneng LEC Primary School, ke mosuwe hloho. Sekolo sena sena le bana ba 1,646. Ka nnete re sekolo se bothateng haholo ka lebaka la rolo e hodimo ya bana. Ha re na ditulo tse teng mona ke tseo e sale nna ke di fumana ha ke fihla mona ka 1983, mme ha e sale ditulo tse ntle. Bana ha o sana mo ba dulang ba se ba dula fatshe, ba bang hodima mapolanka ntse ngawa le ha motho a ntse a go a ruta. Ha ile matlwana ona le ona ka nnete ke tshokolo e tshabeyang a dutla a tletse a sitwa le ntshuwa bane jwale ho thobana ba lahletse di pampiri le majwe, mme le ona matlwana ke a gale a ona ka dilemo tsena tse ke dutseng mona ke a fumane a santsa le teng, mme ha sa le boemong bo botle ho hans bakeng sa bophelo ba bana le batho ba phelang jareteng ena.
Behind me here is the site where Maseru City Council is going to construct the pit latrines for one of the primary schools using their local development grant, which they secured under the Deepening Decentralization Program. And we think this is one of the examples where decentralization is beginning to take root.
Ho ngola re kopa dithuso empa ka ditha re ka ba le thuso e re fumana ile ga leboa haholo ka di-MCC ka mo councillor wa rona Ntate Karala re bolella ho ka di-MCC e tlo re thusa ka ditha re leboile haholo.
I've worked now long enough in Africa to know that ambitions are always greater than the reality, but I think having now to have a decentralization policy in place, working on the strategy, training and capacitating the districts to handle the local development grant. I myself was at an event last week where we handed over school desks and toilets which have been built with that grant, shows that progress is being made.
The value of working with UNDP and other partners in this regard is that we needed them yesterday, and with the little time that we've worked with them on this program of DDP, we have considerable results that we can pride ourselves with, that we managed to achieve certain things. For us, achieving a policy that gives us the direction is the major milestone. Now comes another major issue, that is the issue of the implementation of the policy. We see ourselves as government partnering more with UNDP and other partners in the implementation of the policy itself, to make sure that whatever is contained in the policy is translated into actions that are objective, that are fruitful, that are beneficial to the community.
I think the success of such projects requires a true partnership, not just between the donors themselves and their support, but a triangular partnership where you have the government committed and taking the leadership on these issues, where you have the local level enthusiastic and coming in with the ideas and the energy to implement, and then you have UNDP and the other donors such as the European Union and GIZ in this case, who are able to bring the expertise and the resources to kickstart the process.